G'day, I'm Brodie Brown, Millionaire Mortgage Secrets. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a strategy involving debt recycling. We get asked about debt recycling all the time. It's like this kind of magical phantom sort of a trick which people want to know about. All it means is just a fancy term for repurposing equity and repurposing debt. Okay, so nothing flash about it. I'm going to run through it today for you so you can understand it in more detail. So the scenario is that a couple, now they're in their, say, early 50s, mid 50s, they bought a house years and years ago. Maybe it was their first home and they paid $500,000 for it. It's now grown over time. It's now valued at $800,000. They have an original loan, or the loan that was originally taken out, which is secured against this home to purchase the property, was $300,000. They've decided that because the property is in a good part of town, they like it, they want to retain it, it's valuable, they've seen it increase in value over time, they want to hold on to it. So what they've done is they've used their cash to put the deposit and pay for costs down on this new property, which is worth 1.5 million bucks, but they've had to borrow the rest. Okay, so what's wrong with this picture? Well, they've got a loan of $1 million bucks, which is non-income producing, non-tax deductible, and they've got a tiny loan over here against their investment property, which is income producing, and the interest on which is tax deductible. Okay, so what are we going to do? All right, we need to do a couple of things, right? So let's imagine that you're in your mid-50s. I see this all the time. You're fucking freaking out because you've got $1 million loan, and you might have 10 to 12 to 15 years of work remaining in front of you. Repaying $1 million with after-tax income, take $1 million bucks to repay on decent incomes, take out tax, take out the cost of living, take out fuel, take out a couple of holidays. It's freaking difficult, all right? So that's the slog. That's the slog. So we need to really focus on getting rid of that. This whole strategy is about getting rid of that. The secondary part of it is to, hey, listen, because the debt amount over here is so low and the rental income is about 5% of $800,000, so $40,000 per year, we're going to be making a profit. And what happens when you make a profit? You're going to pay tax on the profit. So that profit goes on top of the earned income. So if, let's just say the man who owned the property was earning $180,000 a year, and it was in his name originally. The profit that they're making is going to go straight on top of that 180 grand. So he's going to have earned 180 grand plus whatever the profit of the investment property is, which I'm going to run through now. So let's just say that the costs on this property are like this. So you owe $300,000, interest on $300,000 with a 6.5% loan. It's about $19,500, where it is $19,500. And what are the other costs? You've got management, which is 10% of that, usually in WA because we get ripped off. You've got insurance, building, landlord, rates, maintenance. The total comes to $29,000. Okay, so you are making a profit, all right, of 11 grand. So that 11,000 bucks after tax looks probably more like 6.5, 7 grand, give or take, right? Not too far off that. So that little bit of profit that you've just made has gone to the tax man, all right? Now, something I want to drill home, I remind my clients of this all the time. Everyone who calls me up asking to invest to save tax, it's the dumbest idea ever. You're always going to make more money if you're making a profit. Okay, so let's just say that you have an investment and it makes 50 grand a year profit and you pay tax on that. You might pay 35 to 40% tax at the most. That's way more than making a 50 grand loss and getting a 35 to 40% refund. Makes sense? All right, so just remember that this is not about making a tax loss. This is about repaying this debt way ahead of time with the help of your tenant, and making sure that you're not paying tax unfairly on this investment property over here. So how are we going to go about rejigging this thing? So we've got a loan over here of 300 grand. If I'm doing it, I'm going to extend that for 30 years. I'm going to turn that into an interest-only loan. It serves us no purpose to repay that investment loan whilst we've got this dirty old debt on the home over here, okay? This is bad debt, this is just okay debt, right? There's no such thing as good debt, this is just okay debt, right? So why is this okay? Because you've got a tenant who's paying for it. It's going to cover itself. There's possibly some tax advantages in here as well, okay? So this doesn't matter so much. It's underpinning and secured against an asset over here, which is going to grow over time. So happy days. Now, that 300 grand, interest only, extend the term. But what I want to do, I want to unlock this 40 grand of income, okay? 40 grand of, remember, you don't have to pay tax on this until, if you're lodging your tax return with a tax agent, you've got about 9 months to actually lodge it after the end of the tax year, okay? So that's quite a powerful thing. I'll explain exactly why it is a powerful force. I want to use this 40 grand, I want to take this, which would, let's just imagine if I wanted to earn 40 grand, I would have to, or have 40 grand net, I would have to be paid, say $65,000 a year, and then take tax off that, and then you're left with about 40 grand, okay? Give or take, 60, 65, whatever it is. So anyway, it seems like a small number relative to the $1 million, but hey, look, think about it in terms of what you would have to earn in your own name as an individual to earn that 40K. So what I'm going to do is I want to redirect that 40 grand. I want to get these tenants to pay that directly into the home loan or the offset account. Okay? Fuck, Brody. Well, what are we going to do now? Because, like, who's going to pay for the interest on the loan and all of the costs which you've just outlined, right? Which weirdly no one talks about before they buy an investment property, which is just beats me. So, well, look, let's organise the line of credit. Okay, so this property is worth 800 grand. We owe $300,000 on that. It's easy. It's easy if you're getting us to help you. It's easy to borrow up to 80% of the value of the property, providing the story is sound. Okay, so what that means is that if 80% of $800,000 is 640 grand, you've got 300, take 300 off, you've got 340,000 bucks of line of credit that we can organise. Okay, so, and before I go on, if you're getting something out of this video, if you're liking it, please subscribe, please like the video. My goal in this is to share this with as many people as I possibly can because I'm getting asked about it all the time, okay? So would really appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you. Now, let's get back to this. So this is the line of credit. What is a line of credit? A line of credit is a huge credit card. Basically, that's the easiest way for you to understand it. If you have a line of credit or access to credit of 340 grand, but you don't spend it, you don't draw on it, guess what? It's interest only. You don't have to pay any interest on a loan which is not drawn. Okay, so this is a concept which is a little bit different to people. They used to be prevalent, quite commonplace, but they can get you into a pickle if you mismanage your finances, which people tend to be very good at doing. Okay, so, but you're not one of those people, you're a responsible person, so I don't need to worry about that. Now, what's going to happen is the interest on this $300,000 loan is going to get paid by the line of credit. Okay, so that line of credit is going to make the interest payment on that 300 grand each month. And that line of credit is also going to pay for that. It's going to pay for the insurance, it's going to pay for rates, it's going to pay for maintenance, it's going to pay for property investment advice. So this line of credit is going to cover all of the expenses that are related to this investment property. Okay, so even the interest on this line of credit is capitalised. What does capitalised mean, or capitalisation? It's a ridiculous word for something very basic. We're just adding the interest onto the principal of that loan. Okay, so we don't have to repay the line of credit. The line of credit just grows gradually over time, so that let's imagine, for example, we've got say 29 grand of expenses over 5 years. That's 150 odd thousand bucks. 5 3 is 15. So this over the course of 5 years would grow to be 150,000 bucks. So you've got a total now of that original 300 plus the new $150,000. That's 450 grand. Can you see what's happening here? That the cost of interest is going to have, it's going to increase, Okay, so therefore, after time, I don't know exactly when, and it's not an exact science. It's very important to realise that this is not an exact science, okay? Because the variables, particularly this, all right, the interest rate is out of our hands, okay? So, but what we're trying to do here is get to the point where this investment property is running neutral or slightly negatively geared. And what I mean by that is that the costs are equal to the rental income. And if the costs are equal to the rental income, guess what? You're not making a profit, you're not making a loss. Okay, so you're holding this property and it's not costing you anything and you're not profiting from it. In time, once this is increased, you might be making a small loss. That's not bad, you're going to get a refund on that loss. That's not the point. The point is to rip this 40 grand that the tenants are paying and put that into your non-income generating, non-tax deductible debt on your home, which you're trying to repay before you retire. Get rid of that debt. So let's just think about this 40 grand. I haven't indexed this for inflation at all, so I'm just imagining 40 grand over 5 years, that's $200,000. So you've had these people, thank you very much, they've paid you another couple $100 grand. Right, so to have earned that $200,000, you would have had to earn about $270,000. So that's huge. It's huge in a relatively short period of time. So it's very, 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 very powerful at helping you to flip compound interest on its head. All right, so you've got compound interest working against you over here. So having the tenants chip in with 40 grand a year is pretty powerful. All right, so now, there's a couple of fine points here which I don't want to dive into too much because really this is not financial advice. I'm not an accountant, I'm a humble mortgage broker. So if you have a tax agent lodging your tax return, you've got 9 months to lodge that tax return. So what happens? Even when you're making a profit and you have to pay tax on that profit, you can hold, not spend that tax money in an offset account or even in the loan over here. It doesn't really matter if you get it mixed up, okay? So that's pretty cool, and that means that you've got this money from the tenant and you're using it over here, and it's tax-free income for a reasonable period of time, right? A meaningful period of time. So it is very powerful. Now, what happens now? You smash this out, that's gone. You own your bloody home, thank goodness. Now what are you going to do? So again, I don't know exactly how this is going to work out because we don't know what the interest cost is going to be. All right, we don't know how well you're going to go at managing your money, but we'd like to think that you're responsible and this is not getting out of control. So that 300 grand is there. Whatever you've used in your line of credit to repay or to cover the interest costs and the cost of owning this property, they've all been capitalised and added onto that line of credit. So now you get to this point where you're in your, could be early 60s, right? And you've increased your debt over here, but also because it's a high quality property in a good area and it's desirable, it's increased in value. So you've got a couple of options. Option one, which is not the option that I would recommend because I'm one of those guys who would, I think the best time to sell is never, right? Like your boy Warren Buffett. You want to hold on to this thing, okay? And what are you going to do with the debt? Well, remember, if that mortgage is gone, you've got your income to repay that loan, okay? So once that, you might decide that your goal is to leverage the tenant's rent and your income to repay this loan because you want to retain that property. Once that's paid off, or almost fully paid off, you begin to have access to that rental income. Remember, that is going to grow over time as well. I haven't put any indexing on that. So you'd imagine that would be increasing at say 3 to 4% each year. So that's going to grow over time. Remember, the whole purpose of investing in property is to make a profit through capital growth and to get the cash flow. And in order to have free cash flow, that debt has to be pretty much gone. So look, I reckon this strategy works very well for the right people. You must have equity. You must have solid income in order for it to come together and work for you. The other thing, and you've got to be good with your money too. The other thing to know is that it doesn't matter so much. It doesn't matter so much which property is used to secure the debt for the line of credit. Okay, because the ATO designates the tax deductibility of interest based on purpose, not based on security. So if, for example, however it comes together, you might have, and we actually see this, you might have more equity in this owner-occupied property than you do in the investment property over here, or more usable equity. You can have a line of credit which is secured against the owner-occupied property too. A lot of people get that mixed up. There's no rules to say that you can have, or you can't have, an investment loan which is secured against your owner-occupied property. Nothing wrong with that. Or an investment loan, the original investment loan, all the debt could be secured against here. You wouldn't want to do that. You want to have most of your investment debt secured against your investment. You might even want to have them non-cross collateralized as well, okay? Depending on how risky this is and your employment situation is. So, killer strategy works very well for people. Usually when we're going through this at the beginning, the clients are like, oh shit, like, oh, this is crazy. I don't know anyone who's doing it. We're actually increasing our debt over here. It's like, yeah, you are, but this thing over here is going to go. It typically takes between 2 to 3 years. And I've had clients from 7 years ago who have this in place and they're like, shit, man, that was like unreal. It's unreal. And to the point where a lovely client of mine, she took me 4 years to write a Google review, 5-star Google review, because she saw this working, and it worked extremely well. All right, so killer strategy. If you want to know more about it, if you want us to take care of it for you, because you can't just walk into a bank and get this done. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the products. They don't have the solutions. We do. There's a link on the bottom of this, or down below, to my mortgage brokerage, bhbrown.com.au. Would love to help you out. Thanks for watching.